Back now at 8:39 with an eye-opening look at addiction. Nearly 18 million Americans suffer from alcoholism or related problems, and more than 38 million over the age of just 12 years old have used drugs illegally in the past year. In fact, prescription drug abuse now causes more deaths than heroin and cocaine combined. But sadly, just 1 in 10 with an addiction ever receive treatment. Christopher Kennedy Lawford knows the struggles of this all too well. He's been in recovery for more than 25 years and is the author of the new book, Recover to Live, Kick Any Habit, Manage Any Addiction. And he joins us with his cousin, former Congressman Patrick Kennedy. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. It's
well,
good to be here.
I guess in some ways you both have the essential credential to talk about this. You both have struggled with addiction over the years. And for you, Christopher, it started incredibly young, 13 years old.
Really young, and it starts young for a lot of folks. And I had desire to stop. I had all of the resources to stop, and it was difficult for me. This book, Recover to Live, is for folks because this shouldn't be just the province of folks that have resources to treat this. I wanted to give good information to people and assessment tools and tools for recovery so that they can begin the process on their own.
One of the things you write is, when I first did drugs and alcohol, I felt at home. I loved it. The first 4 or 5 times I did heroin, I became violently ill. But what the drug did to the reward center of my brain was so powerful that it never occurred to me not to do it again. Do you think some people are just hardwired to be addicts?
I do. And Nora Volkow, who runs NIDA, the National Institute of Drug Abuse, talked about the studies they did at NIH with rats and how profound these chemicals are on the reward center of the brain. And for some folks, they're really powerless not to do them.
Yeah, Patrick, this is something that you've talked about openly. You had your own struggle, and sometimes relapse is part of that struggle. How long have you been sober now, and how are you doing?
Next month it'll be 2 years, so it took me leaving my public life to finally get into long-term sobriety. Before it was stopping and starting, and that's the case for most people with these illnesses, is they're chronic illnesses, meaning they want to stop but they can't stay stopped. But the key to this is acknowledging that you have an issue and understanding what that issue is. And Chris's book really does a great job at bringing the experts to tell us what is the evidence base. Because one of the things that Chris and I have had access to is good treatment, but most Americans, they're trying to fly in the night in terms of understand what's out there and what is good for them. Yeah. And Chris's book, Recover to Live, offers some good guideposts to getting good treatment.
Well, let's get practical about it, because this is the time of year people want to make a clean break or a fresh start. What is the essential revelation in this book? What can people really take away to help them break these addictions?
Well, first of all, this is the best information available today from people that really know this thing. So if you have an issue with drugs, alcohol, sex, food, gambling, and also the first time all of these behaviors and substances have been brought into one place. If you have a desire, if there's harm in your life and you have a desire to change your life, you should look at this book, and it'll show you where you are in the continuum and give you some really good information and ways to change behavior.
There's such a stigma still around these illnesses, and some people, still look at this and think this is a failure of willpower.
They do, but we're beginning to understand the brain much better. I started an organization called One Mind for Research. The idea is it's the brain. We have to understand how behavior is a symptom of bad chemistry in the brain. We blame people for acting poorly, but what was the derivation of the way they acted? Was their brain held hostage by a chemical, or faulty wiring, or genetics, or an environmental condition?
Very quickly before we go, we see these laws that are broadening the legalization of marijuana, sometimes for medical reasons, sometimes, and in one case at least, for recreational use. Do you worry about this trend?
The two most costly drugs on the planet are both legal, alcohol and tobacco. I don't think we need another legal drug. Decriminalization is a good idea, but legalization isn't.
All right. Again, the book is called Recover to Live. Christopher Kennedy Lawford, thank you, and Patrick Kennedy, good to see you as well.